In this video, we're going to look at how to do for loops, and that is a programming technique that lets you do actions more than once. In fact, as many times as you would like. Comes in very handy for lots of programming problems. So let's start again with js.do, and again click on Create New Code and make sure we're all cleared out here. Okay, so a for loop lets you again do some action and do it as many times as you choose to. So a for loop looks like this. You type in the word for as the command, and then you start with a variable. In fact, we'll just declare it right here, variable of I, and sort of a convention to use the variable name I when you're using a for loop. You don't have to. You can use peanut butter if you like, but I is just sort of a convention. Okay, so we're going to start I at the number 1. Then we're going to do a semicolon. And then what we have to do is give the for loop, tell it how long we're going to run this. We're going to run this as long as I is less than or equal to, let's say 5. So in other words, we're going to start our variable I at 1, and we're going to do some things, and then we have to check again every single time to see if I is up to 5 yet, or actually above 5. So let's do a semicolon, and then what we're going to do every single time we do this for loop is we're going to add 1 to I. So instead of I being just by itself, we're going to say I is now going to be equal to I plus 1. So that may look a little strange, but what's going on is, again, we have that variable or box called I, and every time we go through a sequence with the for loop, I is going to be set equal to whatever I used to be the last time we went through the for loop, plus 1 more. So when I starts at 1, we do everything in the for loop, and then we add 1 to it. So now I equals 2. Do everything in the for loop, add 1 more. I equals 3. Do it again. I equals 4. Do it again. I equals 5. And do it again. Then suddenly I equals 6. And the for loop will say, nope, I is bigger actually than 5 now, so we're not going to do this code anymore. Okay, we're going to close the parenthesis there. And we're going to make a brace. So now everything inside those braces will be done however many times we've set that for loop to run. So let's do something fun like document write hello world. So what this loop should do is print or write, I should say, the text hello world over here 5 times. So let's see if that works. Let's click run code. Alright, so it did do that. Unfortunately, it did exactly what we told it to do, which was print that one right after the other. We didn't add our HTML tag, the paragraph tag. So oops. There. So now it'll print out the paragraph tag and hello world every single time. Let's try that again. Oh, much more fun. And how can we make this print 10 of them? Well, that's pretty easy. We can change that 5 up to a 10. So let's run the code and see what that does. Oh, gives us 10 of them. Excellent. So again, the for loop, it starts at a particular number. So we have our little box, an I. We take the first thing we put in it is a 1, and we tell it when we want it, how long we want it to keep repeating itself until I equals 10. And so every time it executes all the code in there, it adds 1 more to I. Okay, and then we can say document write the end. Let's change this back to 5. Okay, so what happened here? Here it went through the for loop 5 times like we expected it to, and then it got out of the for loop and printed the piece of code right after that. And again, we left off our paragraph tag. So let's do that. Okay. So that's how a for loop works. It just executes all the code that you put in there, however many times that you've told it to. In fact, we can go a little beyond that and get the person using our website to tell you how often to run that code, how many times to run that code. So let's get a variable of my number, and we're going to put 5 in there, and we're going to change that 5 instead of just 5 to say my number. So whatever this variable, this box has in it, I is going to go up to that. And it did exactly what we expected. Okay, now instead of just typing it in our program, window prompt, we can ask the person using our website for a number. Now, what this will do is ask the user, the person using our website, how many times would you like to see something? It'll put that in the box, my number, and as it's going through the for loop, it'll keep adding up and seeing when we get to that point. So let's run the code. How many times? Let's do it 2 times. And it did that for loop only twice. Let's do it again. 20. And I'm not going to count, but I guess that's 20. Let's give it 100. And it gives us 100 hello worlds, all the way down to the end. So that's how the for loop works.